Getting in the first pictures of the Prime Minister chairing the CCS meeting. We'll go across to those pictures. We're getting in the pictures of the Prime Minister holding the Cabinet Committee on Security. Cabinet Committee on Security being held by the Prime Minister. He's chairing that meeting right now as we speak on the Pahalgam terror attack. The Prime Minister had said that those behind this attack will be brought to justice. Prime Minister chairing the first crucial meeting of the Cabinet Committee on Security post the Pahalgam attack. He had cut short his visit to Saudi Arabia, returned to the national capital this morning, held a security review at the airport itself before he proceeded to his official residence. And Prime Minister had said that those behind this act will be brought to book. And prior to the CCS meeting, Defence Minister Rajnath Singh held a high-level security review with chiefs. Okay, those are the pictures coming in with chiefs of all three armed forces along with the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. And following that meeting, NSA Ajit Doval also briefed the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister heads the Cabinet Committee on Security, and the other members that you see there on the screen include Union Home Minister Amit Shah, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, Union Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Union Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. CCS, or the Cabinet Committee on Security, is an extra constitutional entity not mentioned in the Indian Constitution. As and when a new government comes to power, the Prime Minister is authorized to form, rejig the committees. Abhishek is joining us with the details of the Cabinet Committee on Security, which will decide the response. Abhishek, all eyes on that meeting and the outcome.
Well, absolutely. Except for the Finance Minister, every member of the Cabinet Committee on Security is there, which includes, headed by the Prime Minister, includes the Defence Minister, External Affairs Minister, Home Minister, and all of them are there. Niranjan, apart from that, the National Security Advisor, and who acts as ex-officer secretary to the Cabinet Committee on Security. And then you have, as can be seen in the pictures, Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Somanathan. Then we have Foreign Secretary, Mr. Vikram Misri. On the other side, you can see in the pictures both the Principal Secretaries to the Prime Minister, Mr. P.K. Mishra and Shaktikant Das, and of course the IP and the RAW Chiefs. This completes the Cabinet Committee on Security. And remember, this is happening after almost a marathon 3-hour-long meeting that the Raksha Mantri had with the respective three service chiefs, along with the National Security Advisor. And apart from that, of course, the Union Home Minister Amit Shah, who camped in Srinagar and went to Pahalgam to have a look at the site of a terror attack himself. So the briefing is going on. In fact, as we speak, Narendra, it's been almost an hour since the CCS has been going on. In a while, it should get over, and we would know what position India has taken. The diplomatic response, of course, would be spearheaded by the Minister of External Affairs, and you're expecting a statement immediately after the CCS ends. That should be about 7:15 p.m.
Yes. Abhishek, of course, there was a meeting before the CCS with Rajnath Singh, a Defence Minister, meeting the Tri-Service Chiefs and also the NSA Ajit Doval. The broader details, there is a possibility, of course, of the broader details being discussed there. Now, what kind of a response are we looking at? I mean, what is, from what you're understanding, what is the thinking of the government?
There is clear thinking, Niranjan. This government brooks no indulgence with terror. So we have seen in the case of Uri, then we have seen in the case of Pulwama and the Balakot airstrike that the government inflicts costs of terror. And the same are going to happen this time around. The escalation metrics anyway has been perfected and has been put in place. To make the mistake that we are not going to blink. Having said that, insofar as how we are going to respond this time depends on whatever options have been provided by the subject experts, which obviously are the service chiefs in the case of a military response. And then, of course, the Home Ministry in terms of our internal security. So, the External Affairs Ministry in terms of our diplomatic response to this crisis that we are facing and how we are going to respond. So there is a diplomatic response that's going to be there. There is going to be a military response that's going to be discussed and put across the table. And obviously the CCS deliberates and decides. It's not that we have to respond. Remember, Niranjan, military response is about having to suit your advantage. And obviously, that would be left to the subject experts. What the CCS does is decide as to what kind of response has to be given and in what time frame. essentially the political will has to be expressed through the CCS. And like we have seen in earlier instances, this government has never been lacking on political wills. So compare the Government of India response from 26/11 to the Government of India response now, post-2014. It's a very different ballgame altogether. And irrespective of what statement has come from Pakistan, the fact is that the origin of this terror attack to the Pakistani soil has been already established. And obviously, if that be the case, then terror infrastructure has to be the target. Now, as I said, whether it is to hit at LET and Jaish-e-Mohammed headquarters, or to hit at terror camps, or to inflict other kind of costs on the terror machine that operates out of Pakistani soil, irrespective of whether it's directly or indirectly controlled by the Pakistani deep state. Niranjan, all those options threadbare have been discussed already at multiple levels, and what we are going to see is the CCS being presented those options, and the body ultimately deciding. Remember, this is the topmost body when it comes to India's national security. Whatever decision is taken here is communicated with absolute clarity, and then the execution happens. Like we saw in the case of Balakot air strike, or before that the Uri surgical strike. So I think diplomatic, military, kinetic, internal security, every kind of response on the table. And in a while from now, in just about 15 minutes from now, Niranjan, we are going to hear the first of the salvo coming in from India, which is going to be by the diplomatic route, and then, of course, the Ministry of External Affairs making a statement.